Today we're going to talk about some key things to make sure you are emotionally available for your partner.
What does that mean when you say you're emotionally available or not available?
It can mean a few different things. Emotional unavailability could mean that you're not sharing your experiences, memories, or ideas with your partner. It could also mean you find that when other people are displaying emotions, it makes you uncomfortable. It also could mean that you have a difficult time receiving and accepting love.
So when you're emotionally unavailable, it prevents you from connecting on a deeper level with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then whenever you're in a relationship, the reason why we get in a relationship to begin with is to look for a partner and have a connection, and that's the whole reason why, right? So if that's what you're not getting, then obviously it's gonna start to fall apart or you drift away. So that makes sense.
Right.
We both had a little bit of realization of we're a little bit emotionally unavailable in certain areas or in certain scenarios, but we've obviously gotten better throughout the years.
But yeah, and the big thing for us was being able to learn how to talk about that, even though one of the traits of emotional availability that I take on is getting defensive when we talk about those kind of emotions. It was important for me to overcome being defensive, be able to have those conversations and approach the conversation with open mind to talk about that behavior and how it affects each one of us differently.
How did you overcome that and got to that place?
I think first acknowledging the fact that, okay, I know I get defensive here, and then trying to come to some sort of realization of why I get defensive in certain ways. And a lot of why I get defensive is maybe reading the situation wrong. Maybe it's just something that you're wanting to bring up, right? Just to approach the conversation, but not necessarily be you're wrong for doing this. But in my head, I'm oh, she's saying I'm wrong. It's so bad that I'm this way. And so just kind of taking your words in and not taking your words for what you're saying, but kind of taking your words and being oh, that must mean this.
How did you start seeing that you get defensive? Is that someone pointed it out, or it was reoccurring arguments that you started to see the pattern on your own, or as a therapist?
Well, yeah, so both really, the reoccurring arguments, and then I think you called it out at one point. You're getting defensive because of this. And then totally therapy, talking to someone, a third party, completely independent, the therapist and any mental health professional. I've had multiple over the years, and they've all helped me with different skills. One big thing that helped me with dealing with my emotional unavailability was, after an argument, writing down what the argument was, what was said, I can remember, and then how I felt by it. And then seeing a reoccurring pattern of what was said wasn't exactly what I was being told, So you were saying one thing, I was feeling one way because of that, but the way I was feeling wasn't exactly what you were saying.
So you kind of saw the pattern yourself.
Yeah, kind of seeing the pattern myself, but getting those tools from therapy to be able to recognize it. What about you?
Yeah, the same for me. Well, pretty much the same. I think exactly the same worksheet that you got from your therapist is to write down the event, write down your thought, write down your feelings, and then all that stuff. That did help me see the pattern I fall into. Yeah, so I guess that's our way of being emotionally more available, is to work on ourselves. It's just a long-term project because you can't change who you are overnight. So
or your reactions to things.
Yeah, because you built that pattern for decades, right? From your childhood and everything. So it's just a practice on when you face the situation and you acknowledge the pattern and try to do it differently, and then just kind of build in that new muscle that you've never had before with a new way of thinking and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
that's probably why it feels like I'm more and you are more to each other, emotionally available every year, more and more.
Yeah.
You can expect your partner to change for your relationship or for you. All you can do is work on yourself or see how you view things, your reactions. But is there anything, that being said, is there anything you can do as a partner to build the emotional availability in the relationship?
Yeah, talk with your partner, about that behavior and the traits and how it affects you.
In early marriage, a lot of our conversations that I brought up was around wanting to have your presence and empathy when I'm not well. So like that's asking like for your emotional availability. But then again, I couldn't expect you to change, or you can't change someone. So I would talk about how it makes me feel lonely. Yeah, I think that was the word I used a lot. Like I felt lonely, which I think is a general feeling that you probably would get when your partner is emotionally unavailable. But I mean, again, like a lot of arguments turn into like arguments because I would say something like, I want you to be this, you to be that. But again, like that's just not realistic to expect your partner to change the way you want them to be right away. So yeah, I mean, I do wish the conversation was a little bit more focused on how I feel, which I tried and I got better about it over time. But yeah, I think that's what you can do as a partner, is to talk about how it affects you and how that makes you feel.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you think you could do as a partner to approach that?
One thing that's super important for your relationship to keep growing that way is for you to be supportive and be a good listener when your partner tries to open up.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say, I don't know, most everybody has to learn to be emotionally available or open up to someone.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier when the other person is all ears.
Yeah.
Not judgmental.
Yeah. Encouraging.
I feel like that's also a skill to be learned. That opens up a whole new door to a healthy, accepting communication where actually less heartache happening and a lot more constructive. And then like, this is like the most unexpected thing that I got from learning to be a good listener, is you start to feel empathetic by you being all ears, because you're actually listening to their feelings,
right,
without making it about,
getting defensive or anything like that.
Exactly.
I think one of the most important things to take away really is, if you or your partner is a little bit emotionally unavailable, that A, that's natural, and B, like, it's not the end of your relationship. You can work on it, you can discuss those things.
Just because you're emotionally unavailable doesn't mean you don't love each other. Most of us don't know how to be available or don't have the tools. It's just a matter of willing to learn the tools.
Thank you for watching today's video. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future content.